You look at it in the name, you're going, oh, that ain't him. That's a what's up? Well, when he turns back, I'll know who that is. He going, I don't know who that is.
Well, the NBA is the hardest because there's trades all the time. Like no one stays on the team for more than like a year or two. So yeah, I'm with you with that. Because sometimes like you recognize the face, be like, what's that guy's name though? What's his name?
Yeah, but then you wait for him to turn his back to see what his jersey is.
That's funny. You're getting exposed right now, Max.
No,
you rely on that, huh?
I've always. Sometimes you do rely on it. You don't know if you can tell me. I don't know. I always said I don't know every player. Like if I'm looking at in the face, but if you tell me his name and then I can put it together. I know what he does. I can. But you think of the Celtics last night. If you were a casual fan, would you know who Semi Ojeleye is? Just say that dude took a charge.
I wouldn't.
You would say that dude took a charge, or would you have known who? Taco, but who else would you know? Who else wouldn't you have known?
I mean, you wouldn't know. Grant played a little bit. You probably wouldn't know Grant.
Wouldn't know Grant.
Yeah.
Then you wouldn't have known. What's the name? Leading the league right now in free throw percentage. He leads the league in field. You know about that.
For the Celtics?
Yeah, he leads the league in field goal percentage.
Field goal percentage. Oh, I think free throw percentage.
Free throw.
Oh, free throw percentage?
Free throw
Kemba
percentage.
Walker?
No, it's it comes off the bench. He's shooting 93%. You know that? Yeah, he's leading the league right now. What's his name? He's a backup. He's the backup guard you bring in.
Marcus Smart?
No,
he's not shooting 90%.
No. The other backup guard that you have. Made the steal last
Brad
night.
Wanamaker?
Yeah, Brad Wanamaker.
Man.
You didn't know that?
He doesn't. Okay. He might have a high
No,
percentage, but he doesn't lead the league, though.
Brad leads the league in free throw percentage.
Yeah, but
he is qualified. He is the leader.
I was going to say, is he qualified?
Yes,
Has he taken enough free throws?
Yes, he's the leader in the NBA in free throw percentage. But would you know who Brad Wanamaker was last night?
No, I wouldn't.
I mean, if you're a fan of the game, you might know some of the players, but you ain't gonna know who Brad was. You wouldn't know who Semi Ojeleye was. You wouldn't know who Carson was.
I mean, I would be wondering why Hayward, why it says education reform on the back of his jersey, though. I'd wonder that.
I don't know. And I think it's just too. I think it's too many meanings. I personally, I believe it's too many.
I'm surprised he didn't explain himself, or at least, I mean, he hasn't faced the media since.
I mean, you don't have to face, but whatever it is, again, how many meanings?
You're right. Brad Wanamaker leads the league in free throw percentage, yo. 93.3.
I'm not going to lie to you, dude. Yeah.
Yo, he tops Devin Booker, Chris Middleton, and J.J. Redick. What?
Yes.
He qualifies?
Yes, he leads the league in field goal percentage.
What do you have to take 100 free throws in order to qualify?
I don't know what it is. He's qualified. Kyrie was up there for a while, but now he's not qualifying. But Brad Wanamaker leads the league in free throw percentage. You would have never.
I was like, yeah,
you
must be mistaken.
If you're looking at the game, you're going,
who's that?
Who is that?
Yeah.
And then what does he have on the back of his jersey? You're going, so. Who is it? So for me, it's just I'm just saying this. I understand you're trying to get a message out, but also at the same time, I'm trying to. If I'm a casual fan of the game, I'm also trying to follow the game, and I don't know who your players are.
You think that distorts the message, though?
If you were trying to gain fans, what are fans looking at the game for? Are fans looking at the game because of what?
Well,
are they looking at the game because of a social message?
Yeah.
Or no, they're
some
not
people are.
No, not looking at the game as a social message. Max, the game is entertainment.
If you compare what we saw the last two nights compared to what the NFL was saying about Colin Kaepernick, I mean, if you're not an everyday NBA fan, you're wondering, man, what kind of messages or demonstrations are they going to do?
And what they did, man, they did that when they kneeled. They did that when they kneeled. They did that when. But for me, as a fan of the game. Me watching the game, if I'm a casual fan of the game and I'm trying to follow the game, there's no way for me to follow the game now. I can't follow the game. Yeah. Okay, I can go with Tatum, I can go with Brown, I can go, but then I lose. There's 5 or 6 guys after you get by Marcus Then next, who's next? You're gonna say Taco. You might know him,
yeah,
but you ain't gonna know Enes.
Right. After that, it's
that's what I'm saying. A casual fan that comes in after you get by your first 5 players on almost every team right now, you lose. Even with a starting team, you lose. Like Wes Matthews. Wes Matthews is starter for the other team, and I'm looking at and I know him, but I don't. I'm trying to like. Until Sean said Wes Matthews, I'm like, oh yeah, Wes Matthews. Okay, I can identify now. But again, that's what I'm saying. If I'm a fan of the game, I'm a casual fan, or even if I'm a fan of the game, you're not telling me that most fans identify and know who those players are. And I'm not saying the message isn't a good one, but I'm just saying also you have, I don't know, it's just too much stuff going on.
Yeah.
Too much stuff going on.
Right.
If you say,
it's a lot to adjust to.
All right, if you do it like this, if you are right now, if you are saying you have painted right now Black Lives Matter on the court, right? That's on the court. Your players right now are kneeling. Most of them, almost 99% of them are kneeling,
right,
and taking with it. Now you got the message also going on the T-shirts on the jerseys. I'm confused. I get confused, and that's what I'm saying. I just don't. I think the message sometimes get lost because there's too much stuff going on.
Right.
We have identified. You have said Black Lives Matter. I am with that. You have also given your players the permission to kneel at the beginning of the game. I'm with that. But when they took their jerseys off, other than the starting 5, I lose perspective on who's playing.
Yeah, that's true. I never thought about it like that. I'm honestly, I was surprised that the NBA didn't have, maybe not like force people, but give every player an opportunity to explain what they picked to put in the jersey and why.
Well, you can do that. I'm sure you'd be able to ask the players why,
Well, yeah, but
that if you want to, but you're not going to go through 300 explanations, are you?
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is you had these press conferences, right? You had these interviews or whatever. Mm-hmm. It was almost the week leading into the scrimmages. It was almost like a media day like feel to it, right? Where everyone was hitting the mic.
But you didn't have those.
But you didn't get every player.
But you didn't have those jerseys on then. You didn't even know what they had until the first day.
Yeah, that's true because they had enough time to
the exhibition game. I'm like, well, where are the names at? And they said, well, they're going to do it during the regular season.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now again, as you're saying, what is the message? Well, why did you pick this? Mm-hmm. Why does Kimba have love us? Right. Or love me. Love me.
I would love to have that.
Love me.
To hear those
explanations. Or Gordon Hayward. Why did he have education reform?
Right.
And so now, how many messages are there?
They said there was a list that was approved by the league, but they didn't say how many different
How many are there? How many messages are? And if you get so many messages after a while, don't you get confused? I mean, this is just me.
They all gear towards the same overall goal.
But you've already given me that by putting Black Lives Matter on the floor.
Yeah.
You have already identified. So
what are you saying? Are you saying it's redundant, or are you saying that it's going to go sort of distorted?
I'm saying the message is distorted to me.
Okay.
The message is distorted because now you have you don't go from you don't have 5 messages. You don't have 5.
you got like 25.
Yeah, you got 10. It's like I'm looking at, let's say, what's on the back of his jersey? Okay, what's on the back of his jersey? So what's on the back of his jersey? I would have loved, I think I would have loved this if each team would have voted and maybe they put one message. Say if the Celtics wanted hands up. And that's all they had on their jerseys. I think the message would have been less distorted.
Were you surprised by Gordon Hayward's decision?
About Gordon Hayward's decision to do what?
To do education reform?
No, because I don't know what I don't know what it's about. What is it about?
I mean, the first thing that came to mind, and to me at least, if we're talking about the overall message of systemic racism and so many problems with our society in a sense of being diverse, that's a big part of where it starts if you think about it.
Okay.
Let's face it, African Americans in this community or all over the country, they don't have the same resources or advantages always compared to the prep schools.
So that's what we're saying, that more people should have
more conscience towards,
have more opportunities.
Right.
Is that what we're saying?
Exactly.
So that's what. So
inner city kids aren't getting the same curriculum.
But what you're telling me is that I have to be able to dissect
exactly
what he's saying.
So why can't I have Hayward up there explaining this to me? Why did you pick that?
But again, you're going down a line where it becomes you have, I don't know, 30 players with 30 different things. Are you looking every one of these players to get his message? And that's when I say it becomes distorted and diluted.
Yeah.
When you hit a person with one message right now, you're going, Black Lives Matter. But then when you start going to something else, and then you start going to something, like right now, it's Black Lives Matter, I Can't Breathe. I identify those with kind of hands up, don't shoot.
Yeah.
Something like that. I identify those.
Which is the majority of players. Black Lives Matter is obviously the most,
the
most common one.
But I'm saying you have right now another 20 messages that I again, as a fan, I'm losing perspective of the message. I'm losing that. What you're trying to tell me, because you got so much information coming at me. I'm trying to watch a fast-paced game. I'm trying to watch this. Now I'm trying to identify what players who. Now I need to know why he's wearing that jersey. It's just it's too much stuff.
No, well, the reason I zero in on Gordon Hayward was because a lot of people were sort of not confused, but they're sort of like, wait a minute, is he not completely on board with the Black Lives Matter movement? Is he a Republican? Like, you know how it is nowadays. The speculation was running wild.
Well, he's wearing it because he's about Black Lives Matter, because he's wearing a different name on his jersey. He's wearing something different. So I didn't get confused with that, but
for some people that's not enough.
But I get confused with, and that's my point.
Yeah.
The message is right now becoming so stirred, and somebody pointed this out to me, and that's why I didn't really think about it until somebody said, wow, you know what, the message which is coming across right now, this is a good one, Black Lives Matter, but now that you have 10, 12 players wearing different messages, now it's gotten to the point where it's like you making Kool-Aid back in the day. Now you make Kool-Aid, you get one flavor, you get two flavor, but you get 6, 7 flavors. You're like, what the hell? What am I drinking here? What are you trying to give me?
Yeah, I'm dying because I used to do that. I used to try to. My mom would be like, no, pick a flavor and that's it. The next batch gets a different flavor. You're mixing all these colors into one.
And then you mix them all together. You don't even know. You don't taste nothing. That's my point about this message. That's exactly my point about this message. It's like there are too many things coming at me to identify what you're trying to get me to take in.
Right. Because then otherwise we're left here assuming, or we're coming up to...
You're assuming right now.
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to figure this out. And I'm giving Gordon the benefit of the doubt because of his teammates and because of, I don't know, the fact that, like you said, he decided to put something on the back of his jersey.
What's Kimba's about?
What's up?
What's Kimba's about? What is Kimba's message about? Love me.
Love me, yeah.
Love me. What is that about?
Equality?
No. They said
maybe not.
Somebody said it was a thing from Spike Lee's movie. Do the right thing.
Okay.
Do the right thing. Where where there was a black guy who was there was a white guy who was talking about all these great things he loved about black culture and this, that, and the other, and he said, well, that guy's black. He said, well, that don't count. That don't count. That don't count. You just love me. Yeah. And so that's what that meant.
Oh yeah, no, that's the scene where he says, you like Michael Jackson, right? You like his moves? Yeah. Oh, you like Michael Jordan, right? Yeah. Yeah, what color are they? Oh, they don't count. Yeah, exactly. Those guys don't count. Yeah.
Exactly. So you love my culture, but you love my things that happen for me culturally, but you don't love my race.
Right.
And you can't separate one from the other. But again, my message that I am getting right now is I'm getting confused. Because I don't know what you're trying to tell me.
Right. But see, that's the thing.
Because now you're bombarding me with so many different things that the message is now lost on me.
Sports keep coming back. So does your chance to bet on them with our exclusive wagering partner, betonline.ag. Major League Baseball has already started. There's no shortage of ways to get in on the action. BetOnline has all the odds, futures, and props for you to bet on. We got NBA that started now. NFL's not that far away. And as the sports seasons start to return, BetOnline has sat down with Eddie George from the NFL, Robert Horry, the 7-time NBA champ, and Harold Reynolds from Major League Baseball to get their opinions on what it will be like playing without fans and what they have called the fandemic. Visit betonline.ag today to check out all the odds and up-to-date sports news. Don't forget to sign up and take advantage of all the welcome back to sports bonuses. There's a bunch of them. So BetOnline, make sure you go to it. Your online wagering experts.
I would love for Gordon to explain. He hasn't spoken to the media since he made that decision, but I mean, if or when he does, I'm sure that question will come up because for me personally, I'm speaking from personal experience, it resonates with me because Max, I had to wake up at 5:30 for 12 years. I was from grades 1 through 12 because my parents wanted me to have a better education in the suburbs. So education reform, that hits hard. That hits close to home for sure.
Yeah, but you even look at that, and you've told me about the education reform of where you were at, and you felt like you were in an alien place when you got that education.
Absolutely.
Although it was good, you still felt like you were in a foreign land. When you were bused from the inner city to the MECO program out there, you look back on it now? Yeah, obviously you probably would say, but what would you change about that experience?
Honestly, Max, nowadays I'm not sure if I would put my kid in it because there's other alternatives now. Though.
Exactly,
I didn't have those opportunities back then. There's charter schools.
But what was bad about it?
What was bad about my experience? I would just say. I'd say the worst part was just being discriminated against. You know, we had a handful of incidents. People writing hurtful things on bathroom walls, and the school would they would close. They would lock the bathrooms, take a picture of it. We have an assembly about it, and that was it. But then what happens? Someone else will do it again because you guys glorified the first time. Someone's going to do it again to get more attention. So then stuff like that would happen.
Didn't you explain to me one time how you were in the room and a black issue came up, and they just came to you like, "Yo, Josue." So, okay,
those 2-3 weeks you go through the civil rights movement, or you're watching some documentary about
Roots
police brutality or Roots. Roots.
Explain that to me.
I had kids in the lunchroom pretty much apologizing to me, bro. Yeah, don't worry about it.
I mean, but that's and I understand we have to get the message out, and there has to be but the message to me also has to be a precise message. You know, my
but don't you think that helped me in a way though? Doesn't that gear me for the future, for the everyday workplace where I'm going to be a minority, I'm going to be the numbers are so
yes it does.
So in a way, it sort of gave me a head start.
It absolutely does. But there are things about it that you look at and you going like for instance, like when I was in grade school.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
When I was coming up, we weren't bused, and we were bused, but it was a lot of us. We didn't have like one black kid in a room. And that to me, that would have been horrifying. I mean, I'm thinking back right now during the 50s or whenever, or during the 60s, when you had 5 black kids going to a elementary school, and all those people out there screaming and yelling, "We don't want you coons, you niggas get out." How would you be if you were like a second grader?
I can't imagine.
Could you imagine? Well, as a parent,
and I'm only about 15 years removed from that at the time. We're talking about the mid '90s. When I was in first grade, it was the mid '90s. So.
But could you imagine as a parent? Would you do that with your kid now? If your kid was in that situation where he had to be bussed into a situation and you had all these other parents out there yelling and screaming, obscenities and all this, how would you think about putting your kid in that? He's like, oh, hell no.
No, hell no. Yeah.
Because I mean, for what you gain, I think you lose on the backside.
I mean, well, how so? Are you saying that kid's going to be traumatized forever? Or is he going to have a general hatred towards white people?
No, you're going to be traumatized. Okay. If you're a second grader and you got people screaming, do you think that those people remembered that? Do you think those kids from the first grade, second grade, even you right now,
every day of it,
as you said, there's still right now things right now that you probably you're still traumatized by. When you when you think about it, when you actually think about it, you look back on your life and you're going, and something happened, you're going, and it puts you right back into that school, and you're going, you probably need therapy and you don't even know it.
That's happened to me a couple of times, actually, Max. That's funny you say that, because there's sometimes things in life where I'm like, wait a minute, or I'll remember something that happened and I'll be like, that shouldn't have happened like that. I was too young to, or that person shouldn't have said that to me. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess one thing that comes into mind, and again, this goes to education reform and the stereotypes that come with having one or two minorities in the entire school, or maybe 3 or 4, but I remember I struggled a lot in school, or at least in particular with reading. I want to say this was about 3rd grade, and I never forget that my teacher asked me, well, what language is predominantly spoken at home? And I'm like, both. No, it has to be one. I'm like, no, not really. It's pretty much both. And long story short, Max, she put me in ESL. That's English as a second language. That's for kids who don't know English.
Wow.
I know English, Max. That was my first language. Spanish is my second language.
Yeah.
At that time, I barely knew Spanish, but she couldn't fathom how or why, or she assumed that, oh, this kid must be struggling because he doesn't know English. Obviously, I didn't have an accent. I speak English perfectly. But in her mind, she didn't say, oh, that must be it because he's Latino and his parents, they don't speak English at home. That couldn't be further from the truth. My parents are both very fluent in English, and I was too. But again, that's just one example. If I'm white, you think she's going to put me in ESL? You think she would jump to that assumption? Or better question,
exactly.
Why don't you call my mom? Why don't you check in with her?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Like mine, for instance, mine would have been when I sit back and think about it. It was, and I remember the kid well. His name was Wesley Crow. His parents were from Virginia, West Virginia. And we were in the backyard, and Wesley was teaching me this nursery rhyme. And I take it home with me, but it was like, he's like, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a nigga by the toe. If he hollers, let him go, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Oh. And he teaches me this and that as a first grader. I'm taking it in. I get home and I'm from my mom, and I'm like, Mom, yeah, Wesley taught me this nursery rhyme. And she was like, what? Cedric, where'd you learn that? I say, there's Wesley. She said, don't ever use that again. And I didn't know what it was about, but it was something that happened during that time, and I was 1960, maybe 1961. We were on a military base.
That's an actual rhyme.
Yeah, and that's what this was. This was what they would say. That's what they were saying in West Virginia, and that's what they said in his home. And he repeated to me, and I didn't. I took it in like, I'm taking it. So you're talking about things that traumatize you and things that happen. Those are the things we look back on that are, that are just lined with things that we have to take in, and that we just that we can't forget. I will never forget. The beach I was at in South Carolina. I told you that story, how I'm there, and they got a fence that runs from the beach all the way into the water, about as far as the football field, separating black people from white people. Like there was some difference between, like something was coming off the black people who were going to get on the white people, or vice versa.
We have to separate you two.
That was just like, those things are in my childhood that I look back on, where you're going, going into a bathroom or seeing a doctor's office and seeing, man, this doctor's office is clean. They got all kind of nice books over there, good chairs, that. No, that's not your side you sit on. Your side is the others that got broken down chairs, no magazines.
See, for you, it was just straight up playing. It was just like, no, you guys go this way, we go that way. Yeah. For me, it was the looks. It was the change in the way they spoke to you. It was, subtle. But again, because you're a kid, you don't know. But you look back on it as an adult.
But that's what I'm saying. It looks back on it as an adult, and you're going, things that shouldn't happen. My daughter Shamika went to the MECO program. Then it was a thing, when EEIs, Dennis and who was it? Callahan had the thing where, the monkey got away from the school.
Waiting for the MECO bus.
Yeah, he was waiting for the MECO bus.
Yeah, my dad told me about that. 'Cause my dad wanted me to know, look, again, to remind you, you're different when you go out there.
Yeah.
You have to conduct yourself a certain way, and you have to make sure that you don't take things, or you have to speak out when things are that. And I'm 7, 8, 9 years old, Max. I'm like, Dad, what are you talking about, Dad?
I'm gonna speak out like I'm Dr. King or somebody. I'm 7. I'm
right?
6. What am I going to say?
But you get older, though, Max. That's the thing. You get older, and I love this line. Someone put it up. I don't know if it's an actual quote or just something that's been floating around the internet. But the question that I used to ask myself, or ask myself now, looking back, was when do I go from being the cute little kid to this kid's a threat? Oh yeah, oh he's so cute. Oh look at you. Oh, where you from? Are you from Boston? Or are you Latino? That's what they used to ask me, stuff like that. And then once you hit 14, 15, 16,
look,
oh man, this guy might have a knife on him. This guy might have, I'm a threat now.
You say that, but it was like the young black kid who got killed, and it wasn't Emmett Till, but it was somebody like that. A little boy who was in Baltimore, Maryland. I went to a black museum there. And it was a young kid who was 5 years old, and he was playing with this little white girl, and he kissed her on the cheek. They came that night.
She told somebody?
No, they came that night. Yes, she told somebody, but they came that night to his house. Mob, angry people, took him out of his house at 6 years old and lynched him because he kissed this little girl on the cheek.
Very similar to Emmett Till.
Yeah, so those are things that you look at and you going, oh my God. Mm-hmm. Or just back then, you people don't, just the messages itself, history which has not been taught, like the massacre in Tulsa, on Black Wall Street, where black people had their own thriving community, and then there was a white woman who accused this black kid of sexually harassing her. And the white men came to Tulsa and wanted to take this kid, and they killed the guys who were trying to get him. And then they came in with tanks and bombs and guns and slaughtered the entire community and burned it down. Those are things that you're not taught in history.
I was just going to say, it's a good place to teach all that, Max? School. To kids. At a particular age, that's going to mold their mind. It's going to stay with them as they get older. That's how systemic racism works, in my opinion, right? You're not sharing that kind of information. You're not planting a seed into these molding minds. And as they get older, they're thinking that for whatever reason, the problems in the black communities isn't a result of the laws and the systemic racism that's been already put in place decades before you were even born, And I think nowadays, obviously, the conversation's in the forefront, and, everyone is sort of doing their own history, so to speak, and they're speaking out on social media and whatnot. But I go back to when everything was really happening and the protest was all over the country. And I was telling, we were talking, I think I called you like that night when everything really started to go on. And I'm just like, I was just frustrated because I just kept thinking to myself, man, how long did it take everyone to realize? Like, how long did it take for everyone to change?
As you know by now, I'm finally doing something about my weight and my health by starting Awaken 180 Weight Loss. I've already dropped about 18 pounds, and I'm not the only one. Kendrick Perkins is down about 30 pounds. And we're just 2 of 11,000 who found the solution for weight loss. No gym, no medication, no tricks or gimmicks. Awaken 180, a combination of science, nutrition, and expert one-on-one coaching. If you have weight to lose, I recommend you call Paige and her team. You'll lose weight starting the first week and each and every week until you get to your ideal weight. Awaken 180, 6 locations. But during this lockdown, They're starting clients virtually. The same program from the comforts of your home. Simply log in to awaken180weightloss.com. Fill out the form online and start your weight loss transformation. Awaken 180 Weight Loss, the official weight loss program for the Boston Red Sox. All right, I just let you read the story about, history or matters which, we forgot about. 1943, there were black American soldiers based in Germany. And there was a German town which really disliked the way that the black soldiers were being treated in America. So they started having pubs that had blacks only. Well, the white soldiers found out about it. White American soldiers found out about it, military soldiers. They came in, and what they did, they had a riot. And our soldiers, our own soldiers, our only black soldiers, U.S. soldiers, got killed. There was 17 got killed by our own military because they were fighting them because they were treated differently in another town, in another country, where they felt like, well, they're not, blacks can't eat and drink in America.
Right.
Well, why in the hell should they be able to eat and drink? And we go to the same places while I'm here in Germany.
They finally found a place where they felt equal.
Yeah. And the white soldiers went in, and essentially our U.S. military killed 17 of our own.
That's terrible, man.
So there are parts of history which, to me, are left out, that we don't know about, that we talk about. I mean, some people say, why aren't there, why isn't there a, why isn't there, there's Black History Month. Somebody said, well, why isn't there a White History Month? How can every day is White History Month? Every day, it's like
that's all we know about white history. That's all I was taught growing up.
We don't know. Things we don't know. I mean, we always celebrate that. So why are you going, identify that particular phase? And I'm not being racist or biased. I'm just pointing out the fact.
Right. No, definitely. No, it's interesting, especially moving forward, because we don't even know what the modern classroom's going to look like, right? Like, who knows? We could be seeing kids, getting homeschooled for the next 2 years or so. And maybe that'll be an opportunity for schools to change up the curriculum a bit, incorporate a couple of weeks into the curriculum of learning about history and how African Americans truly were treated in this country, and the reasons why these laws and the systemic racism is still held up until today, till this day. So
it's a fight. To me, the NBA is doing, again, let's go back over it. The NBA, to me, is doing the right thing by identifying the message, but the message right now is getting diluted because you're trying to make me consume too much. Mm-hmm. That's my point. You're making me consume too much information. If I am the casual fan, if I like the game, I want to follow the game. Now I can't follow the game because there are too many messages. I'm following the game. It's fast paced. I'm following this. I'm following that. Why does this guy have the name on his jersey? What is this for? So I personally, this is just me, I personally don't like it because the message right now is being diluted. Mm-hmm. Black Lives Matter, I am down with that. That is on point. Players kneeling on the sideline, referees, all that, I am down with that.
What did you make of Jonathan Isaac choosing not to?
What he said to me is a religious point. And he made perfect sense. He explained it. He said, look, he said, I don't kneel.
Mm-hmm. That's a religious practice in his mind. Yeah. You don't just kneel for anything, for any cause. You kneel for a God. That's how
So I can go with that. Or even if he's saying he didn't want to, wear something on the, and that's what it's about. It's like everybody shouldn't have to. Mm-hmm. Everybody doesn't have to. And that's what America is about. America is about freedom of expression. So if he chooses what would Trump say to him if by him not kneeling?
Yeah, right.
By him not kneeling, that would be. Is that cool? But he doesn't know the message. He's just saying that there's a person who's not kneeling, and that's disrespecting our flag. If anything, it respects our flag that much more, because our flag isn't about kneeling. Our flag is about freedom. Mm-hmm. That's what people are not. The perspective they're losing. It's not about kneeling. Our flag allows us to be different and to express ourselves.
And I like that Brad Stevens mentioned that before the game. He said, "Listen, this isn't about the military. This isn't about us trying to take a stance against the country. No, this is about equality, Black Lives Matter, and raising awareness about it."
And that's a great line. I wonder, and I'll ask you a question now. Like there was I want to say it was in was it Minnesota? Was it in Minnesota? Or was it? I think it was in Minnesota, and they had all these people who were Trump supporters, and they went to the State House, and they were in the State House with guns, lined up in the corridors of the hallway with guns. What happens if there were some black people who went to the first thing I was thinking. I see. I rest my case. I rest my case.
Like 20 black dudes with guns.
20. You give me 20 black guys right now with guns going to the State House in Boston.
2 of them making it back out alive.
Two. You 20. I mean, There were 30, 40 people. They're showing in the state capitol.
There'd be some would survive, but a lot of fatalities.
Well, in the state,
they wouldn't make it.
Look, all those people came out of the state capitol.
Yeah, you're right.
They had guns. They had rifles.
They were outnumbered.
They had rifles. You show me one area where black people can walk down the street
pull up like that.
Yeah, pull up like that. Like for instance, we'll do it like this. For instance, if you and I, we got 30, 40 people, and we were walking downtown Boston with guns
strapped around that
strap with rifles on our arm, with rifles walking.
State of emergency. It's a wrap.
You ain't getting that. You're right.
You'll see the tanks coming down soon. That shit don't stop soon.
What? But I'm just saying, this is how this country is so different. Right. In one hand, because you are a Trump supporter and you were white, you're able to do this. Mm-hmm. But if you were another protester and came out with guns and went to the state capitol.
Yeah, but see, Max, I think some people are starting to realize that, though. You have to make that connection. You had the time to make those connections, right? With all this time people have nowadays, and B, you look at the differences, like you said, and you say, how can that not be race related? You know what I mean? How can you say, oh no, race has nothing to do with that? Like, even the people who are screaming the loudest, racism is over, will look at that and say, okay, you got a point. Like,
Yeah, like I said, all you have to do right now, if you are anybody right now, and you get a bunch of people of color, and they're walking down the street with guns. What? Yeah, thank you. You can't call enough cops. You can't call enough military. They're flying in here. Are you crazy?
Yeah, man. Nobody would be taken into custody safely. It would just be by force.
Yeah. So now you look at a guy, and now you're looking, and you look at John Lewis, and you say, and it was just so poignant to see him make his last trip across that bridge.
Yeah.
That hopefully they name it for him. Mm-hmm. That he made this trek, and he was in the casket, and they're carrying him, and that was just like, man, it couldn't have turned your head that much.
Yeah.
And then for 3 presidents to be there, and then for our president now not to necessarily honor that is just
awful, man.
Just you don't. But then again, though, we'll say this about Trump. Trump has been consistent because
give him credit for that for sure.
No, he's been consistent in the fact that even John McCain, when John McCain passed away, and this is like a American icon. Who was in the who was in Vietnam and who was captured and who was a prisoner of war. Even then, he was still. There were things that were said about John McCain that just defied logic. Yeah. For somebody who is an American hero who fought for this country, who was imprisoned for, tortured for, for years, where his arm wasn't even, working anymore because they'd been tied behind his back so long that it just defies logic to me. And that's why I'm saying what I would put on that. Somebody asked me what I would put on a jersey. So they asked me, what would you have on your jersey? And I said on the back of my jersey it would be, I will vote. Or vote. I saw several.
Somebody
people,
have vote.
I saw several players would vote, and that to me is the message that I'd want to send. If I was any of the players in United, I would say vote.
Okay,
vote.
That's what it comes down to. I mean, what we got? 3 months. 3 months from Judgment Day. Do we get another 4 years of this guy, or do we get?
We don't know if he's going to leave.
We'll see. Well, he's trying to do. What's he trying to do with the voting? He's not letting people.
The election.
He wants people to mail their votes.
Well, he also doesn't. He said something the other day about postponing the election, putting it back. Yeah. I'm gonna let's change it.
He doesn't like these numbers right now. He doesn't like these early numbers.
And everybody that even the Republicans came out and said, "No, we done had wars, we done had this, we done had that, and we've had votes every single year at this time. So we're not going to postpone it now,
man.
Because of COVID, because of anything. We're not, we're not going to do that."